Test 1 2.
Test 1 2, 1 2 3 4.
Mic check. Test mic. Test. Test. Test mic 1, test mic 1, test mic 2, test mic 2.
Help us level the playing field. Sign the parliamentary petition today to fuel the growth and fund the game.
Oh, look who it is.
Our usual microphone speaker is away in Melbourne, so I've stepped up to have a crack at it, so bear with me, please.
Should have had it ready.
Welcome to the home of Dandy City for this round 14 clash between Dandy City and Oakleigh. Mine and Kitchen are open with coffee machine and running out that can actually Friday night versus Senol NPLM. So it'd be great to see you all again. Even bigger numbers.
Well, we've reached the halfway point of the 2026 Senol NPL Men Victoria season. This round 13, the final time where we'll see each team playing each other for the first time. And it also coincides with Female Football Week, a lovely touch to open this one here at Frank Colohan Soccer Complex with a host of young girls throughout the Dandenong City teams walking out with the players and facing towards the famous Filipovic stand. So at the halfway point, we have two teams here with very different mid-year report cards. For the visitors, Oakleigh, it's just about straight A's. 8 wins in a row in all competitions, 5 in the league, hardly conceding a goal at all of late. 4 straight clean sheets in league play, sitting pretty on top of the table. While for Dandenong City, of course, hampered by the points deduction imposed at the beginning of the season and looking to back up what was a fine season last term, reaching the finals and ultimately the grand final. Hasn't quite been all smooth sailing, entering this one on a run of 3 straight defeats without a goal in each of those 3 defeats as well. Back home for the first time since a devastating late Dandy Derby loss against Thunder. We'll see if the home ground advantage can this time come to Nick Tolios' aid. I'm Nick Hughes, delighted to be bringing this one to you tonight for some fantastic Friday night football action alongside Demir Kulash. Demir, welcome. We've got a fine game on our hands tonight. Second bottom versus top, but plenty of opportunity for both sides to put in a performance and get the result that they're ultimately after.
Yeah, thanks for having me, Nick. Looking forward to this one. The ladder may say one thing, the form guide may say one thing, but ultimately it's 90 minutes and Dandenong City have some pretty big ins tonight as they look to get their first points in a few weeks' time.
Yeah, spot on. It was an undermanned Dandenong City that lost 1-0 at Jenna Steele Stadium against Preston Lions last week, but they get their big hitters back this weekend. 4 ins in the matchday squad in total. 2 of them come into the starting 11. Pierce Waring is one, who is about to get us going. Jack Webster, the skipper, the other at the back. So it's Pierce Clark in goal. Webster is partnered again by Gaku Inaba at centre-back, who's done a lot of his work at full-back, but again in the middle this time around. Jackson Leno remains at left-back with Valley Chesnick on the right. Danny Kim, Matthew Giovku in the middle. And what we're really looking forward to seeing is what they had initially named last week was a strike duo of Waring and Xander Guy, and Will Bauer and Tim Atharinos holding the width as we are underway. The hosts getting things started. And for the visitors, one change seemingly enforced. Liston Diaz is out of the squad altogether. He was substituted during the 2-0 win over St Albans in the Doherty Cup in midweek. So suspect that may be an injury enforced change. Joseph Ford has come in at right back, which straight away we can see has pushed Labib higher up the pitch into a right wing position. Pierce Waring, first opportunity to run at his former side. Didn't quite have the joy that we've come to know from Pierce Waring in this competition last season. Just 81 minutes played for Oakleigh. We're starting to really hit his stride here at Frank Holohan with 3 goals in the space of 2 games and a couple of wins against Bentley Greens and Green Gully. Throw-in goes long. Hampson won the header and Sinclair will stop it from going out from for a corner. But Demir, fantastic to see Waring back in the 11 and be interesting to see him partnering up there with Xander Guy tonight.
Yeah, I wasn't expecting a traditional 4-4-2, but it definitely looks like Dandenong City have lined up that way.
Throw-in was long again. This time the cross is deep. And Naba will scurry after it and keep Dandenong City in possession. Long ball is straight into the hands of Thomas Manos, who remains in goal, having played every minute of the season thus far. There's Joseph Ford, that aforementioned change, and it's an excellent ball over the top to Labib, who's into the box. Didn't have too many runners to try and pick out. Could only find Jack Webster, but half-hearted clearance sees Oakleigh remain in possession. McGilp out to Labib. And the first opportunity for Labib, the April Senol NPL Victoria Player of the Month, to swing a ball into the area. So Joseph Ford at right back, the mainstay centre defensive duo of Brodie Boyce and Jordan Hall continues with Connor Hampson at left back. Cam McGilp, Campbell Strong at the base of midfield with Joe Guest ahead of them. Adam Juratovic, who's had a fantastic start to this season. 9 league goals to his name already, just behind Bruno Fornaroli at the top of the Golden Boot charts. He once again leads the line with Kingsley Sinclair and Labib holding the width for the visitors. Guess pinches that one. Saw Clark off his line, and I think his shot ended up hitting his own teammate in Juratovic. Atharinos has come over to this left-hand side. It'll be interesting to see the first 5 or 10 minutes for Dandenong City, how they adapt to this new style. Of course, assuming they will have trained in this formation, and they played in it last week, despite the late change, which forced Will Bauer into the starting 11 and Pierce Waring out of the squad. But can already see plenty of interchanging with the wingers and fullbacks looking to get high as well.
Yeah, and they'd be looking for a goal tonight. It's been 361 minutes since their last goal, not including stoppage time, against Green Gully all the way back in round 9. And it was Pierce Waring that delivered it. But a formidable opponent tonight. Oakleigh, really up until last week, were in free-scoring form. Of course, they ended up with 2 goals, even though it took them 90 minutes to get them against Dandenong Thunder last week. But they'd be looking to do the Dandy double and extend their lead at the top of the table.
Head tennis in midfield. McGilt brings it back on the deck. Connor Hampson, who scored the first of those late goals last week. To me, you were there at Jack Edwards Reserve. What did you make of the game? It seemed as though Oakleigh were, as you mentioned, not at their free-flowing best necessarily, but always pushing and always seemed the likelier to win the game, and obviously their quality came to the fore in stoppage time.
Yeah, most definitely, and I thought Dandenong Thunder were quite well organised throughout the course of the 90, but Oakleigh have plenty of players of quality when you've got a player like Joe Guest that can deliver a fantastic set-piece delivery like he did for that Hampson goal, and I should reiterate, it was a Connor Hampson goal. For those of you who may have been listening in and tuning to that game, myself and my caller in that game, Oscar Rutherford, did get that one wrong. We initially attributed it to Joe Knowles, and it's actually my error because in the excitement of the moment, Oscar hadn't picked out the goal scorer, and I mentioned to him, I believe it's Joe Knowles, and he went with it, and we got that one wrong. So apologies to Connor Hansen. A good thing that the referees picked him up as the correct goal scorer, and that it has been attributed to him. Now, if he does score tonight, I can assure you, won't be making that same mistake twice.
Well, it was just a little bit of foreshadowing, if anything, because Joe Knowles, of course, came off the bench and scored an absolute screamer to round things off and confirm the win. Fantastic to see him back in contention, back on the pitch, and back doing what he does best, scoring goals after recovering from that ACL injury. Made another cameo off the bench in that 2-0 Doherty Cup win over St Albans.
Do wonder how playing 90 minutes at Churchill Reserve on Tuesday night will affect Oakleigh, the Friday to Tuesday to Friday turnaround, whereas for Dandy City it's Friday to Friday. They've definitely had a few more sessions to prepare for this game than the Oakleigh Cannons, and do wonder how Xander Guy will perform tonight after quite a sensational podcast appearance on the NPL Victoria pod. Quite the character, as we see Peace Waring go to ground. Hopefully that's not a reoccurrence of whatever injury he had last week. The physio has been called onto the park though, so you can just hope that it's only a little knock and that once he gets treatment he'll be right to go. Definitely a player who, despite his quality, we just haven't seen enough of in the last 2 and a bit years in this competition. And probably a move to Oakleigh that didn't work out. They do have one of the best in the business in Alex Salmon on their books, and when he's scoring them every second or third week, he can make it difficult for...
Yeah, well, this is exactly not what Nick Tolios and Dandenong City would have been after to start this game. We mentioned it, Pierce Waring was a late scratching last week after the warm-up at Preston Lions, and this time around he made the start, but looks like it's going to last just about 8 minutes. Dandy City seem to be preparing the change.
You can only assume that it's Jamie Latham who's going to be coming on.
Yeah, Latham, one of those 3 Dandenong City players returning from suspension. Webster, the only one of those in the starting lineup. Latham and Harry Ashcroft are back on the bench.
They've fooled us.
Waring is back on the pitch. He's holding a good spot on the left wing, but teammates couldn't find him. Guest looks to hit that one long. And they'll concede a throw in Dandenong City, but here is the change, and as you predicted, it is Jamie Latham who is going to come on. A little bit too eager to get on the pitch, Jamie Latham, but he'll of course be delighted to be making his return to the side. Such a key attacking outlet for Dandenong City, 4 goals this season. Stalwart in this competition, formerly of Green Gully and Moreland City as well. Scored versus Oakleigh for Gully back in 2024, so be keen to repeat that feat in Dandenong City colours. We'll see, Demir, what that means for the structure and the formation, because of course there's a a bit of a profile difference between Pierce Waring and Jamie Latham, so we'll see how that shakes things up going forward.
Yeah, I think the 4-4-2 formation that Dandenong City commenced the game will turn into a 4-2-3-1, and Jamie Latham is doing a few stretches out there because he hadn't had an opportunity to do a proper warm-up. The subs usually 15-20 minutes in. This is when they usually go out for their first in-game warm-up as Oakleigh contain possession here.
Ford's low cross is controlled by Kim, who goes back to Inaba. Lino forced long, but sliced his ball out for a throw. Of course, we know the type of game that Jamie Latham brings. He's not going to take a backward step. Loves to buzz about with and without the ball, get forward and get in goal-scoring areas or press and harry the opposition defence as well. So I'm sure he'll warm up pretty quickly as he goes. Kingsley Sinclair took that one down nicely. Chesnick stayed with him all the way.
Now, if you're wondering why it's a bit more noisy than usual here at Frank Holohan Soccer Complex, we can tell you that there is a group of Dandenong City juniors who have positioned themselves on the right side of the centre, who have bought, plenty of drums, plenty of noise, plenty of horns, and have created a bit of an active section. So it's good to see that Dandenong City is getting their juniors involved, whether it's... So we'll stick with play for a sec.
That's a brilliant release from Will Bauer to Tim Atherinos. Steps inside. Xander Guy goes to ground, and it's a penalty. Just like that, on the break, Dandenong City will have the opportunity to open the scoring from 12 yards. It was a wicked counter. Will Bauer's ball to Tim Atherinos, absolutely sumptuous. And it looked as though Xander Guy was going to be in to score himself. Jordan Hall had just slightly misread the pass and taken himself out of play. But Connor Hampson, I think it was, or perhaps Brody Boyce. Hampson it was. Retreating. Bit of a shove in Guy's back, and Jamie Latham, we just touched on it, only on the pitch for a couple of minutes. He'll assume responsibility from 12 yards.
And Nick, that stat that I had for you before the game, Dandenong City scoreless in 349 minutes leading up to this point. Oakleigh have not conceded in 405 minutes leading up to this point. So let's see if Manos can continue his streak of 4 games without conceding a goal here.
Streaks are made to be broken. Latham steps up and it's saved. Low to his left, Thomas Manos. And perhaps Jamie Latham does need a few extra minutes to warm up after coming off the bench. A disappointing penalty in the circumstances. Not a great deal of power behind it. It was low enough and seemed maybe just about far enough in the corner, but a lack of power, and Manos able to get across and hold the save as well.
Yeah, great work by Thomas Manos to stand firm, not pick a side until the kick was taken, and once he did, he picked correctly and ultimately denied Latham, having commenced the season without having a clean sheet in his opening 8 games. He's now 4 games plus without conceding. He's getting into top form, Thomas Manos.
Oakleigh straight back up the other end with Hampson, who gave away that penalty, whipping one into the box, and now the visitors want a penalty of their own. Chris Taylor not happy with that decision. His side's still on the ball though. Campbell strong. Labib turns in the box nicely. Cross is blocked, but it'll fall to Ford with plenty of space. And that cross meets the head of Danny Kim. So end-to-end action here, Demir, and can see the Oakleigh players getting around tonight's referee, Terry Constandelos, asking where their penalty was.
Yeah, there definitely was contact there from Lino on Labib, who seemingly was fouled in the area but fell outside as he tried to maintain his footing.
Will be a corner. Guest swings it in. It's a delightful ball to the back post. Headed away initially. Oakleigh stay on it, and now Dandy City can clear. That delivery that you mentioned was so important last week from Joe Guest. Of course, we know all about his quality. Reigning gold medal winner. 2-time gold medal winner. Just such a massive threat for Oakleigh from open play, let alone from a dead ball as well. Here's Hampson. Cross was blocked and came back to him, and Juratovic was in an offside position, so had to leave that one for Pierce Clark.
Yeah, just a bit of miscommunication there between Hampson and Labib as to who would ultimately touch the ball, and it's the danger that Oakleigh have. They've lost Liston Diaz there. Without the services of Alex Salmon, Joe Knowles is still getting back into full fitness and commences tonight's game on the bench once again. But, you know, Labib's looked like a threat in each of the 13 games he's played so far this season. We've got Juratovic has been in exceptional form, scoring 9 across 11 games heading into tonight. And then when you've got players like Connor Hampson, Brody Boyce, Jordan Hall, who can all score from defence, just makes them so much more formidable. And I haven't even mentioned Joe Guest.
Follow, Jamie, follow!
An embarrassment of riches for Oakleigh. It's incredible to think, as you mentioned, Demir, they're doing all this work without the services of Alex Salmon, without really the services of Joe Knowles. Only just been able to come back as a substitute in the last couple of weeks. This lineup, you feel, could get a darn sight more scary going forward towards the end of the season.
You got to keep in his ear because he's fucking gone. Yeah, I know. Why didn't you do it?
Forward with Atherinos to be the two number 22s.
Can I ask you a question?
It's an interesting insight in there. Listening to two passionate benches as we remain goalless in the first 17 and a half minutes, and Chesnick had to clear. McGilp did well to control in his chest, but can't quite flick it onto Ford.
Oh! Wee man! Hey! Look at me! Hey! Normal stop, normal setup. Yeah? Oh! It happened! I don't care!
One of the great things about being in this commentary box here at Dandenong City is how close you are to both benches. You're virtually on top of them. You can hear every instruction. And Nick Tolios and Chris Taylor, a tale of two coaches on the touchline. Chris Taylor, normally quite reserved and quite quiet. And Nick Tolios, definitely one of the more vocal coaches. Both successful in their own right.
Yeah, spot on. Maybe different brands of coaching and leadership, but certainly the same level of success over their careers in Victoria.
Contrasting in terms of where they're at their careers, you'd think that Chris Taylor's probably somewhere towards the end of his coaching career. He has been doing it for such a long time. And Nick Tolios is still quite a young coach, despite the fact that he's been doing it for over a decade now.
Excellent switch from Jofku. And the ball in just too high for Zandagai. Picked out a fantastic position in between the two centre-backs and leapt well. But the clip in from Atherinos is just over his head. Encouraging signs for Dandenong City. And a nice bit of midfield play from Matthew Jofku as well, who, fresh off his first ever senior Senol NPL Victoria start, has earned his second. 19-year-old who has featured in 10 games all told, but from the start now for 2 in a row, which is fantastic to see.
Jamie, good!
Of course, Dandenong City probably one of the older squads in this competition, but tonight they have Jovku, Jackson Lino, a talented young player as well, as Webster just about cleared that one. Labib was onto the rebound. Plenty going on in the box. Webster thought he was fouled, then Labib thought he was fouled.
There appears to be more problems for Dandenong City, more injury problems, that is, because Jack Webster has pulled up sore here, and if there's one player they don't want to lose, it's the experience himself in Jack Webster. I don't think Labib did anything wrong there. He had every right to go for that ball, 50-50. Ultimately got to it first. May have left a bit in there on Webster, who may have himself followed through, but good to see him up and about. Sure, it's a sore one, but he is one of the toughest players in this competition. Been exceptional over a decade and a half now since he first came into Victorian football back in 2010 for the club then known as Sunshine George Cross, of course now known as Caroline Springs George Cross.
Yeah, such an icon of Victorian football in this competition. Jack Webster, fresh off his 350th game in the league. This one, number 351, which takes him into 6th all-time, surpassing Robert Bryan and Dean Fack. So much success over his time at Bentley Greens, championships and Doherty Cups galore. Looking to bring that level of success here to Frank Holohan as well. That's a good challenge from Kim. Inaba went back to his keeper. It was a little bit short, so Clark is forced to knock it out for a throw.
I think pretty confident that Chris Taylor coached both of those players, Robert Bryan and Dean Fack. Fack, an exceptional player in his day for Green Gully, and Robert Bryan, one of the best between the sticks.
The bib robbed it from Jofku. Jofku stuck a foot in. No foul. Excellent bit of strength and ball control from Labib and Cam McGilp. That was a full-blooded challenge from Campbell Strong. He's on it again. A little bit of a scrappy last few minutes.
I think that was always the plan for Dandenong City, is to make it as scrappy as possible and really make Oakleigh uncomfortable over the course of the 90, because if they have too much space, they're going to punish you.
Of course, we've talked about Oakleigh's defensive record, but they aren't half enjoying things at the other end as well. In that 5-game winning run in the league, they've scored 2, 5, 4, 3, and 3. 4 in the Cup against Sydenham Park as well, although 3 of them came in extra time. Another 2 against St Albans during the week. So Nick Tolhouse will certainly be, I'm sure during the week he would have drilled discipline and shape and sharpness into his defensive contingent, and we'll be hoping to see them deliver tonight.
Yeah, most definitely. An interesting selection when it comes to the starters. Matthew Jofku keeping his spot in the starting 11 after doing a good job last week against Preston. Nick Tolios did have the temptation to play more experienced players, including the returning Harry Ashcroft or George Lambert-Aredes, but good to see Jofku getting his opportunity once again.
Guest delivery, not one of his better ones on that occasion, but it will work out for Oakleigh as Ford eventually gets on it. Guest will try again. That one's a better ball. But no one really challenging Chesnick as he was able to clear. Hampson went to ground, couldn't reel it in. Sinclair will come again for Oakleigh. And Hampson hounded out for another throw.
One point I was making earlier, Nick, before play ultimately led to that Dandenong City penalty was the Dandenong City, a little active section there, which features junior players. Good to see Dandenong City getting their juniors involved tonight. We saw the girls walking out with the players as part of Female Football Week. Their women's and girls program has grown tenfold over the last few years. They're really a club that's placed great emphasis in becoming one of the dominant powers in women's football in this region, which sometimes struggles to attract the same calibre of clubs that you see in other parts of Melbourne for women's football. We have seen in years gone past the likes of Berwick City, Casey Comets have all had spells in the top flight and been some of the state's best, but the Southeast at the moment is lacking that formidable force in women's football from this area, and I'm sure Dandenong City will be looking to play a role in the next 5 to 10 years in producing the superstars of tomorrow.
Absolutely. It's fantastic to see, and I'm sure throughout the grounds this weekend, whether you're tuning into more live streams on the NPL Victoria YouTube page or if you're managing to get to a ground or two yourself this weekend, I'm sure there'll be plenty of celebration of Female Football Week and the junior and senior girls and women's programs right across the state. Fantastic celebration to enjoy as Inaba looks to bring this forward for Dandenong City. Nice bit of footwork and gets it back from Jovku. Great energy from Oakleigh to jump and remain in their defensive shape and force Dandenong City backwards here, limiting any opportunities for or gaps in between the lines to get forward. They go over the top this time to Lino, brings it down well. Well-timed challenge from Brodie Boyce to stop Will Bauer getting any further down the wing.
They have made a point about targeting this left-hand side, Oakleigh's right, because most of their attacks so far this evening have come through there, and that's what led to the penalty as well.
Long throw from Bauer is headed up into the sky by Ford, and it'll go out at just about exactly the same spot from where it came in. Of course, long throw-ins are back in vogue in football around the world. That one met a Dandenong City head at the first time of asking in Inaba, and we'll have another stoppage as Xander Guy this time is on the floor for the hosts.
I can only hope that he's going to get back up like McGill has, and did see him holding his knee, which has been a problem area for him before. Has had a season-ending knee injury rule him out, but he's given the bench the thumbs up, which will, I'm sure, relieve a few on there. Don't want to lose another player to injury because, I mean, not only does it compound you in terms of having two starters out, but you already used up two of your substitution windows.
Yeah, great to see Zanzagai back on his feet, and you mentioned the his cameo on the NPL Victoria podcast.
More than the cameo.
Of course, he was there for the full episode, but an outstanding guest. If you haven't managed to listen or watch that one yet, certainly highly recommend. A fantastic character in our competition. Great to have him back here from Queensland, and great to have him back fit and starting games and hopefully ready to kick on. This is a free kick from Oakleigh, and right on cue it's Guy that has the headed clearance. Ford shut down Lino and got the ricochet. So the throw-in will be Oakleigh's. Juratovic surrounded by two and somehow stands up with the ball. Stood the cross up to the back post. Chesnick might have just got a flick on it to take it off Joe Guest's toes. Here is the Englishman. Sinclair. Jordan Hall, the former Melbourne City man. nice into Guest and out to Sinclair.
Put your body up.
Dandenong City's turn now to fall into their defensive shape and shut off any avenues for Oakleigh to go forward well. Clark's clearance is high. Hampson out jumps Atharinos. Jofku's header was back into the play. Bauer will take over. He's got Latham in support. Doesn't use him, but will win the throw. Keeping an eye on proceedings around the grounds as well. An interesting one developing at Green Gully Reserve. The hosts hit the front on the half-hour mark with Kerr finding the back of the net, but Melbourne City have come back to equalise Medin Mehmedi, who, goodness me, didn't he have a night out last week in that stunning 7-0 win over Bentley Greens. He's got himself another goal to equalise.
That's 5 goals in less than 100 minutes of football since returning to NPL Victoria after scoring that equaliser for Melbourne City in that penalty shootout defeat to Auckland FC in the A-League elimination finals.
That one approaching half-time, having started a little bit before us here. Lovely nutmeg from Ford. The cross was blocked by Lino. And that one will go out of play in Dandenong City's favour.
Terry! What do you mean don't do it again? Terry, he's put his hand on the ball to pick it up and he kicks him. You've had a chat for what? Come on, no. You're trying to kick. No, don't tell me. That's stupid. That is stupid. He's got his hand on the ball. No, it isn't. Thank you. So my player's got his hand, he kicks his hand, he gets injured. What happens?
Lino eventually takes the throw. Guy was double teamed, but competed well. Inaba missed his first kick, but allowed him to bring it down and go back to Clark. Plenty of purchase on that clearance. Headed away by Boyce and brought down by Bauer. Nice ball from Inaba to Lino. Labib went in full-blooded. No foul. And he comes away with the ball. Looking to get round Gaku Inaba. Gets the cross in. And Pierce Clark can fall on it. Certainly looked like plenty of contact. And Nick Tolhouse is asking the question of the fourth official. Thought Latham probably had a case for a foul prior as well. Although Labib's legs did seem wrapped up in the ball in some sort of way.
I think he got the ball, but he followed through and got Inaba. I don't think there was much of a free kick when he initially dispossessed Latham. Came bad after a poor touch from Lino.
See if we can calm things down now and get the ball moving about. That's an excellent ball to split the lines from Inaba. Latham had a look and didn't have much going forward.
Yeah, the game has hit a bit of a lull in these last 10 or so minutes, Nick. Just neither side are able to get a concrete attacking opportunity. We saw Duratovic do well to beat Lino not long ago, and his cross probably hung up in the air a bit too long and allowed Chesnick to header it away from the danger man Guest. But apart from that, we just haven't seen either team come close to having a meaningful foray at goal.
That was some slick possession play from Dandenong City until Jack Webster overhit his diagonal, looking for Will Bauer in the box. Good strength from Guy. Knocks it back inside, and Latham again has time to turn. This time picks out a ball to Bauer. Face to face with Ford. Goes back to Kim. And that's a nice ball from Danny Kim. Atharinos is in the box. And he's won Dandenong City a corner. Applause from the Dandenong City bench for that one. A nice little move, again targeting this left-hand side that you alluded to, Demir.
Yeah, and this is where you have an opportunity to bring in the likes of Webster and Inaba up forward and have a set-piece presence and threat, which Oakleigh would have planned against themselves. Looks like they've got almost every player in the penalty box defending this one.
It's going to be delivered with a different match ball. The one that was being used seemingly not appropriately pumped up, but Tim Atharinos will have the new pill to swing in. And as you mentioned, Demir, it's a very, very busy 6-yard box right now. Be hoping for a quality delivery. It's deep towards the back post. Manos got 2 fists to it, and he needed to. For a moment, it looked like that might have just crept in towards the back post. Good, strong piece of goalkeeping. Manos' opposite number, Clark, can't quite connect with Atharinos. But a good positive sign and a bit of danger from Dandenong City's first set-piece opportunity.
Yeah, there was plenty of bodies there around Manos. So I thought he did quite well to get not just a fist to the ball, but quite a firm fist, and ultimately parried away from danger.
Manos with his feet there. Webster thought he was taken out of the challenge by the contact.
Definitely looked like it.
Play continues. Referee certainly willing to let things go, and does so again.
Maybe a make-up call, that one, because did look like Hampson was fouled, although to be fair, we are on the other side of the pitch. Despite the elevated view, Terry did have a better position to call that one.
Very hard, good.
It's just slowing things down. Again, it's been a positive couple of minutes for Dandenong City. They've been able to get their feet on the ball and start knocking it around. Inaba sliced that one a little bit, looking for Zanzagai, but gets a thumbs up from his number 9, does Gaku Inaba. He's continuing his run of having played in every minute so far this season. His role has changed from time to time across the back four, but his involvement has been ever present. He couldn't quite nick that one away from Labib, who's charging down the wing. Jofku got across really well, using his body and strength, the young midfielder. Fantastic defensive work from Matthew Jofku, and Dandenong City win the goal kick.
Must admit, I'm a bit surprised by that one. It did look like it came off Bauer towards the end, but again, the caveat is that the assistant referee is in a much better position to make that call. I thought Jofku did quite well to slow Labib down and really make things difficult for him prior to receiving additional support from Bauer there.
Been a real bright spot for Dandenong City as a club so far, and the beauty of young players earning opportunities in the top flight is the amount of football that they get to play all told. This is his 18th game across seniors and under 23s. It is round 13, so of course means that there have been some double weekends and plenty of minutes in the young legs of Matthew Jofku. He's now being trusted more and more in the senior environment. Which is a big plus for Hajduk. Just about 5 minutes to go here in the first half of this one at Frank Holohan Soccer Complex. If you're just joining us, Dandenong City had the biggest chance, and certainly a very clear chance. I don't know what's the XG value of a penalty these days, 0.8 or 0.77 or something along those lines. Jamie Latham was only off the bench for a couple of minutes after Pierce Waring was forced off early. Struck his penalty towards the bottom right corner, but Thomas Manos was equal to it, diving to his left to save. And aside from that, neither side has really been able to open up the opposition defence with a great deal of regularity or quality. So we'll see what the final 5 minutes of this half can bring, and the opportunity that both coaches will have to tinker things, have a word with their respective groups, and make some changes in the second 45.
Yeah, and when you look at the two teams, not too many players on either team have played for the opposition, but Nick Tolios, the Dandenong City coach, is a former Oakleigh Cannons player back in the 2005 season prior to making the move to his childhood club Kingston for their first top flight campaign, and his assistant Billy Theodoropoulos is a former Oakleigh Cannons coach who was in charge of the Cannons alongside Peter Zoyce the year that they reached the VPL Grand Final back in 2012.
Plenty of pedigree on the pitch and in either dugout, that's for sure. Speaking of pedigree, perfect man for the ball to fall to when that word's being uttered is Jack Webster. Goes inside to Kim. Jofku again, lovely switch, sprayed out to Bauer. Drive is the call from Latham. So drive he did, but met a strong defensive force in Joseph Ford.
Yeah, I don't think it's hyperbole to contend that Jack Webster has been the standout defender in this competition over the last decade, and it's probably fair to say that Joe Guest has been the standout number 10.
Oh, McGill sold that one short, and it just fell right in between the two pressers in Zandagai and Tim Atharinos. Jordan Hall just about able to scratch the clearance away. Dandenong City looking to increase the pressure going into half-time. Chesnick gives that one a chase into the corner. Hampson knocks it off the Dandenong City man and wins the throw.
Yeah, McGill's his 8th appearance of the season. From memory, he did miss the first few weeks through injury. He's had a bit of a disrupted start to his 2026 campaign, but has been one of Oakleigh's best over the last few years, and definitely one of the best holding midfielders in the competition now, who's probably another one of the players we see on the pitch who's been a bit unlucky that there just hasn't been enough professional opportunities in Australian football to sustain the quality that we have. Because if there was, Cameron McGill would definitely have had a few more professional years under his belt than he did earlier on in his career at Mel Victory. Did also spend some time overseas with Birmingham City and also in Scotland, which is the birthplace of his parents.
Deep free kick from Dandenong City. It's brought down well by Bauer. Cleared just in the nick of time by Campbell Strong. You mentioned Cam McGilp approaching the century in this competition. This is 98th appearance in the Victorian top flight, having, as you mentioned, debuted for Melbourne Victory at the age of 17. And then playing academy ball in the UK, Birmingham City, as you mentioned, Swindon Town as well. Actually played a couple of games in League 2 professionally for Swindon Town in the 2019-20 season, the year they won that league and earned promotion to League 1.
Was that correct in that he also spent some time in Scotland, or?
I believe so.
Yeah.
I believe so. I think, as you mentioned, the birthplace of his parents and his own birthplace as well. And of course, been at Oakleigh since 2023, having had a season at Dandenong Thunder around these parts as well. as we'll have 3 minutes of time added on.
See what I mean? See what I mean?
And Oakleigh will begin this period of injury time with
I don't know the game.
a free kick. And there's been a yellow card handed out as well. Have to look back and see who made that challenge and earned the caution.
So, what did Jamie get booked for now?
But once again, it'll be Joe Guest to stand over the dead ball.
You got a yellow card for that? And you said that's a little bit... Oh, my God.
I'm not entirely sure about that yellow card. It seemed to happen
No, he didn't. He didn't slide in.
adjacent to what was going on the ball. Guest's free kick is once again outstanding. And Jordan Hall just volleyed it across the 6-yard box, but Dandy City were well placed.
That's fine. Let's have a meeting on Monday. No worries. We'll find out what we do wrong.
Guest will trot along for an in-swinging corner. Again, it's deep towards the back post. It's kept in. And it may well have hit the post
Hampson.
from Connor Hampson, who did some damage with his head last week,
Go, get him up, Webby!
putting Oakleigh in front in stoppage time against Dandy Thunder, as we mentioned. Oakleigh also opened the scoring in their cup fixture on Tuesday night at Churchill Reserve with a corner. Brody Boyce on that occasion was the goal scorer.
I think all in all, the Dandenong City defence has held quite firm over the course of these 45 minutes. Both Webster and Inaba have been solid at the back. That English-Japanese centre-back pairing has served Dandenong City well since last season and has so once again this season, despite their struggles. Coming into tonight's game, I think 18 goals across 12 games. Not great, but also not bad for a team that's struggling for form. It's really been at the other end where they've struggled with just 13 goals from 12 games.
No, Valley, don't go. Who's covering you?
Strong lifts that one over the top to Sinclair. It's a wicked ball from Kingsley Sinclair, and the clearance from Jackson Leno had to get that absolutely spot on. If he missed it, Labib was there to tap it in, or if he got it wrong, he was probably sticking it into his own top corner.
It's a goal-saving clearance from Leno there.
Corner again towards the back post. This time, a hand on it from Pierce Clark. A massive intervention from Jackson Leno, who's struggled for regular game time this season at Dandenong City. This just his second start.
And he's taken advantage of Corey Sewell's injury. Sewell has been out for a few weeks now, and we've ticked over to 3 minutes of stoppage time. So referee Constantelos allowing Oakleigh one more opportunity here for the break.
It's surely the last opportunity. The corner's disappointing. Can't beat Danny Kim as the first man at the front post. And that will be the end of the first half. It ends goalless. Jamie Latham with the telling moment. Opportunity to open the scoring from 12 yards inside the first 10 minutes after Xander Guy was fouled by Connor Hampson. Thomas Manos made the save. It's been fiery. Both sides flying into challenges. Both benches up and about. And Nick Tolios seeing if he can get a little word into the match officials on his way into the sheds. But, Demir, all in all, what do you make of that first half? Still looking for our first goal, and I think probably looking for a bit more quality on both ends in the second half.
Yeah, a bit similar to last week, where the other Dandy team, Dandenong Thunder, did quite well to keep Oakleigh quite subdued over the course of the opening 45 minutes. It's been a repeat tonight. I think most of Oakleigh's best opportunities have come from set-piece chances, with the exception of that one that you saw at the end, where the ball was played in across the box and almost found its way into the path of Labib at the back post had it not been for a terrific defensive clearance from Jackson Leno. But Dandenong City, I think they'd be ruining that missed opportunity so early in the game from Jamie Latham, who'd only just come on for an injured Pierce Waring, and Yeah, while Nick Tolios would be quite pleased with his side's defensive solitude throughout the course of those first 45 minutes, he'd be disappointed that they weren't able to take advantage of it on the other end.
Yeah, I think the telling stat there as the graphic comes up on the screen as we head. Dandenong City's coming from a penalty and Oakleigh's coming as a result of a set piece. So, look ahead to the second 45 and hope there's plenty more action to come. Stick around and join us after the break. But for now, it's half time here at Frank Holohan. It's Dandenong City 0, Oakleigh Cannons 0.
Looking around the grounds, Griffin Valley 1, Melbourne City under 21s 1 at half. Valley Heidelberg only 6 minutes in. Out there who are selling raffle tickets, please bring them into the clubhouse, please. Raffle tickets, could you please bring them into the clubhouse? We'll be drawing them shortly. Thank you. Ladies and gentlemen, as said before, the Female Football Week we have a raffle for girls from our under 15 CPL team around the grounds selling raffle tickets. Thank you very much, girls. You've done a fantastic job. If you guys could grab your raffle tickets, I've got some helpers here who will join. We've got 4 hampers. If you could please come up to the club rooms to pick them up, that'd be great. I'll give you a short little bit of time to video. If there's an order, beginning with Bianca, who's got her hand in the bowl. She's pulled out black. Raffle ticket black. A40. A for apple, 40. At 40, if you could please come up into the club rooms, put your hand up. Put your hand to your eye. Thank you, Ange. Thank you very, very much. Following here we have the lovely Lana, who has her hand now in the box. She's ruffling and as she walks around. Ticket. Apple 87. A87. Look up, sticks. A87, if you could please come up to the club rooms and collect your hamper, A87. Orange, colour orange. 87, pick up sticks, 2 legs, orange. We'll give you 30 more seconds. Orange A87, please. Chelsea's had her hand in the ball. Well done, Chelsea. Red ticket. B01. B01, red ticket, pick up sticks. Orange, red, B01, B01. Red 801. Thank you, Kaka.
Welcome back here to Frank Colohan Soccer Complex. Second half of this Senol NPL Victoria Men's Round 13 clash. The halfway point of the season. The halfway point of this one. Still goalless between Dandenong City and Oakleigh Cannons. It's a battle of 13th versus 1st. A battle of 3 straight losses with no goals scored to 5 straight wins and 4 straight clean sheets. But so far, home side Dandenong City standing up really well. They had the biggest chance of the first half when Jamie Latham stepped up for a penalty. Unfortunately for Nick Tolios and the home fans, that effort was saved by Thomas Manos. Dandy City defended well. Not too many chances to write home about from an Oakleigh point of view. We'll see if both sides can pick things up a little bit in the second half and bring a bit more intensity, a bit more quality into proceedings. That's a good start, a nice little nutmeg from Jofku. Ball is high and headed away by Boyce. Kim can't quite get it under control. Didn't quite get that one measured correctly, Danny Kim. But early opportunities for Dandenong City looking to go long. Demir will see if that is a theme that will continue, if that's something that's been discussed in the sheds coming out of half-time. Who do you think would have been the happier coach, and what do you think the messages would have been in both camps?
I think there's a confidence that Chris Taylor has with his team, even when they are underperforming, that he's still going to be able to get the best out of them in the second half. So the fact that they faced a penalty in the first half and have gone into the break level is an acceptable result for them. I think with Nick Tolios, as happy as he would be with how organised Dandenong City have been, big opportunity missed for a team that desperately needs 3 points tonight, because Dandenong City haven't played as poorly, from a results standpoint, 12 points, but the points deduction means that they are in the bottom three, and unfortunately it is what it is for them. So it was always going to be difficult for them, and the last few weeks have proven to be quite testing times for them.
Yeah, of course, they would be out of that bottom three, just about. Would be a point above local rivals Thunder without those 4 points taken off. See if they can shake that off in the coming weeks and let their football do the talking, as Connor Hampson had a go at the spectacular, striking first time on his left foot, always curling away from the far post.
Yeah, as he looked to launch that one, you're wondering, is this going to be one of those ones that ends up being driven into the back of the net, but it wasn't to be, nowhere near it. And for those that may be interested, Auckland FC have just taken a 2-0 lead in the A-League semi-final second leg against Adelaide United to lead 3-1 on aggregate at Cooper Stadium.
Interesting one there. We could see a New Zealand side each in each of the A-League's grand finals. Of course, anyone around these parts in southeast Melbourne, and indeed anyone across Victoria, will be watching on tomorrow afternoon for the A-League Women Grand Final between Melbourne City and Wellington Phoenix. For now, of course, all eyes on Senol NPL Victoria men's and women's action this weekend. As we mentioned, celebrating Female Football Week across the state this weekend. A couple of women's matches, in fact, one women's match on at the moment, one finished. Heidelberg beating Bentley Greens 2-1. And currently with 20 minutes to go, Box Hill lead Melbourne City 2-1 themselves. And then this one of three Senol NPL men's fixtures happening at the moment. And Melbourne City have just taken a lead at Green Gully. Coming from behind in that one. And Bentley and Heidelberg still locked at 0-0 after just over 20 minutes.
So that would have been a double header between Bentley and Heidelberg. I was wondering why the NPLW game has finished so early, but that explains it. And plenty of football, no matter where you are. And Oakleigh have started this half the lively of the two teams.
Strong plays it into Labib. Almost lost his footing for a second. Has to turn back and find Ford. It's a good cross from Joseph Ford. Juratovic leapt and won the header. Just couldn't quite keep it down as the cross was floated in right at the top of the 6-yard box. Could see what he was trying to do, trying to lean back and just cushion it down underneath the crossbar, but ultimately getting underneath it.
Yeah, it was a terrific ball in there from Ford, I believe. Yeah, and Duratovic, given the form that he's been in, would be disappointed not to have at least got it on target and tested Pierce Clark from close range.
He's, of course, scored so many of his goals as a substitute this season, Adam Juratovic. As much of a weapon as that has been, Chris Taylor's had no choice but to elevate him to the starting lineup, given his form and, of course, the injury to Alex Salmon, as that one was placed precariously close to his own goal by Matthew Jovku, but Pierce Clark able to dive on it. And speaking of goals and rich veins of goal-scoring form, that second goal for Melbourne City, have a guess who scored it, Demir?
Medin Mehmedi for goal number 6.
Incredible.
Of this season, or 6 goals in 2 games.
Fantastic output from a very talented young footballer that hopefully will only continue to grow and achieve great things. Boyce's clearance went very high and dropped right in the centre circle, and then Jofku presented it to him while he was still on the ground. Oakleigh trying to launch a counter. That one was just a bit behind Labib, so we'll slow down the progress of their attack. Strong to his midfield partner McGill. Exchanging a few passes. The two Oakleigh Sixers. Now they can go forward with the help of Joseph Ford. It's turned over. Guy held it up well initially. Boyce got a toe on it. Fell only to a white shirt. Webster. Time for Latham to turn. Finds Guy. They keep the ball well there. Dandenong City put Webster a little bit under pressure. That pass from Matthew Jofku, and after a nice bit of possession play, they cough it up rather easily. Oakleigh send it long. Webster again is well placed. Atherinos wins the foul.
Let's see what Connor Hampson thinks about that one. He wasn't too convinced. It's probably one of those which is a foul, even if doesn't think that there was a lot in it.
It's always a bit of a frustrating one for players and fans.
You always run the risk when you put your hands in the back of the player that player may be off balance or may go down a bit too easily, and the referee has no choice but to avoid a free kick. And
exactly right. Give the referee the opportunity to blow the whistle, and blow the whistle they will. Kim, not entirely sure he meant that, but it worked out well to Valley Chesnick. Sees Latham on an island at the far stick. Brings it down, Jamie Latham, and steps inside, trying to work some space for a shot. Returned it to Chesnick and got it all wrong. The air swing with the left foot. It was a nice flowing move from Daddy City, moving it from right to left. Interesting if that was just a case of that particular circumstance, but Jamie Latham seems to be hugging a left-sided position more so now, with Will Bauer perhaps a little bit more central. Atherinos can go one-on-one. Connor Hampson lent in. Shoulder to shoulder is the verdict. And Thomas Manos will have a goal kick.
Hasn't been his season so far, Tim Afrenos, a player who we have seen over the course of the 24-25 Senol NPL Victoria seasons produce his fair share of goals and moments in attack for Dandy City, but he's yet to find a back of the net this term.
5 goals in 27 games last year, one of which, of course, was on grand final day. Scored in Dandenong City's first ever win against Oakleigh in 2024, the first of only 2 in the 12 meetings thus far.
Yeah, they beat him last year at this venue, 1-0. Gaku Naba scored. Probably the most important game that these two teams played was that elimination final a couple of years ago where Dandenong City became the first promoter team in quite some time to make the make the finals in their first year back in the top flight, and ultimately lost 4-1. But that was far from the story, because throughout the course of the second half they've been reduced to 9 men, with Thomas Giancopoulos and Jack Webster both seeing red, and they made a game of it nonetheless, and it was only late on that Oakleigh were able to push away and ultimately triumph in what was another successful championship campaign for them. Of course, finished it by beating South Melbourne in the grand final 1-0, despite finishing third. And they made a habit of that. This year it's been a bit different, and I think the flag will go up. No, it hasn't. It has now.
Nick Tolihos pleading for the flag to be lifted a little bit earlier. And there's going to be a yellow card off the ball for Oakleigh captain Joe Guest. So that's his 3rd caution of the season. 2nd caution of this game. We had one brandished to a Dandenong City player. We were discussing during the break, it was either Jack Webster or Jamie Latham. Of course, the pair of them having only just returned from serving a 1-game suspension for 5 yellow cards, so well on the way to the next suspension. Pierce Clark's free kick was taken too early for Terry Constandelos' liking. So it'll be take 2. Always looking for that aerial prowess of Xander Guy. Oakleigh able to clear. It's an announcement around Frank Holohan of the developments around the grounds, and Melbourne City have added a 3rd, Roland Balla.
It's Balla's 7th goal of the season. He's definitely a player who has had his best season of football in the top flight. And I'm sure, given that he's a non-scholarship player, he's definitely going to be a player that City will look to rely upon in the second half of the season, more than they have so far this campaign. And if he's added 7 goals in so far, I think double figures would be quite a realistic target for him now.
Yeah, of course, it'll be an interesting next few weeks or couple of months or so for Melbourne City. We're expecting this week will be the last for many or most or all of the scholars featuring in this competition. Of course, they're already down a couple who are with the under-17s at the AFC Under-17 Asian Cup. Bessian Kutleshi among them, who's captaining that side. But yeah, the likes of Mehdi Mehmeti and Harrison Shillington and others will take their allotted breaks ahead of the 26-27 A-League men pre-season. So, as you mentioned, Demir, standout form of the likes of Roland Balla will be continually important for them. Guy will give that one chase and keep it in brilliantly. Perhaps got a little bit excited and lifts a hand in apology for what was a pretty speculative shot on his left foot. The work initially to get the ball under control and get away from trouble was outstanding, but certainly had better options to use that ball.
Yeah, did everything well apart from the final delivery. And I'll say Xander Guy, compared to what he looked like earlier on in the season, has definitely shed a few kilos, looks much fitter, and he has been quite open about struggles for fitness. Juratovic on the ball.
Oof. Not too far away at all. Certainly the closest Oakleigh have come. Found himself in a little bit of space at the top of the box and swung his left foot through it. Flashed just over the crossbar. Yeah, as we touched on in the first half, so good to see Xander Guy back on the pitch regularly, having missed really the entirety of last year, or the entirety of last year's Victorian season, having signed for Preston. Pair of hamstring injuries, of course having recovered from a knee injury prior to that as well. Did end the year back home at Gold Coast Knights, and now back in Victoria, which is fantastic to see.
Yeah, just a few frustrations there from Nick Tolios on the bench. Not happy with his team, seemingly always going back. Now, Nick, we have passed the hour mark. How long before Chris Taylor introduces Joe Knowles into this game?
You'd have to think it'll be coming up relatively soon. He got just about half an hour in midweek. I think it was probably 20 or so last week. So it could certainly be approaching Joel No's territory. Well, it certainly looked like there was no touch on that, but Oakleigh have been given the throw.
I think that's two consecutive calls that may have gone the wrong way on this touchline near us. Connor Hampson having a bit of a laugh. Tolios couldn't believe it.
Oakleigh on the charge. It's a nice idea from Campbell Strong, just looking to slip that one into Joseph Ford. It's been good tonight. Joseph Ford back in the starting lineup. Signed from Hume, having made 22 appearances last year in his debut year at this level.
Former Perth Glory player. He's joined at the club this season by another WA product in Labib, who signed from Olympic Kingsway, club that Joe Knowles formerly played for, and who today made a coaching change, which, if I read correctly, brought Richard Garcia in as coach, the former Socceroos midfielder who also spent a couple of seasons in the Premier League with Hull City at the tail end of the 2000s.
I got a little flick onto that free kick that looked like it might have created something for just a second, but Oakleigh able to clear. Yeah, Oakleigh certainly making use of some scouting missions over in WA. Latham with the switch, and Tim Atharinos, don't mind it, took it out of the sky. The first time volleyed attempt. Cleared the crossbar, not quite the fence behind the goal, but inventive little sighter and effort on goal from Tim Atharinos as he is chasing, as we mentioned before, Demiri's first goal of this campaign.
Yeah, and to be honest, when it comes to Oakleigh, I feel a bit shortchanged given how formidable going forward they have been this season, but for the better part of the last two games, they've been quite empty when going forward. 30 goals across 12 games, and apart from a few half chances tonight, you've got to say they've been kept required by a formidable Dandenong City defence led by Jack Webster, who, you know, if we were to do man of the match, would probably be my choice at this very moment. It's clear foul there by Afarinos on Sinclair.
McGill tried to take that one quickly. Referee's just paused as Kingsley Sinclair is taking some time to get up. But yeah, Oakleigh have not gone scoreless in any game so far this season. They've scored at least one every week. They've scored more than one in 9 of the 12 so far.
So I think Manos is now 457 minutes since he last conceded a goal, and unfortunately for Dandenong City, they've ticked 400 minutes since they last scored a goal.
See if both of those trends will continue. Hopefully not, because of course we want to see some goals at either end. Weiss has some time to survey his options. Eventually goes back to his goalkeeper. Lino with a good leap to win the header. Latham looked first time around the corner for Bauer. Not quite on the same page.
Looking at the Dandenong City bench, Nick, you have Jack Pettage Cullen, Harry Ashcroft, George Lambertoritis, who can score a goal from midfield, and the player that I'm excited to watch is Tyler Nunal. Unfortunately, he's had back-to-back ACL injuries, which really stalled quite a promising young career. He was previously on the books of Melbourne City and made his return to senior football last week off the bench. Be looking to make up for lost time, because prior to those injuries, he was definitely one of the best young talents in Victorian football.
Yeah, brilliant to see him with his senior Hajduk debut at Jenna Steel last week. He debuted as a 17-year-old for Eastern Lions in 2021. Sure, the longer this one remains 0-0, he'll be an option, but right on cue, it won't be 0-0 for any longer. Kingsley Sinclair strikes from range, and it squirms through the hands of Pierce Clark and into the bottom right corner. And we touched on it, Oakleigh haven't been kept scoreless all season long, and they won't be tonight. The Cannons take a 1-0 lead.
Well, if you don't buy a ticket, you won't be let in to the fair, and Kingsley Sinclair definitely bought one as he attempted that one from long range. And my first immediate thought was that Pierce Clark should have perhaps done better. He got a hand to it, but it wasn't strong enough to deny the Kiwi from scoring his second of the campaign.
Second of the season, 9th all told for Oakleigh since joining in 2023. Started all 27 games last year, Kingsley Sinclair. Only Joe Guest played more minutes in total. He's been a key contributor. Perhaps hasn't had the goal tally that he might have hoped for when he arrived from New Zealand. He'll be hoping that could be the one to kickstart a bit of a run. And as you mentioned, Demir, Pierce Clark may have a look back at that one and wish it went differently. Just let the ball go through his hands. He got across well and got a firm touch on it, but couldn't push it around the post.
And now Oakleigh can do what they do best, which is control the tempo and play the game on their terms and really frustrate Dandenong City, who, you know, with the exception of a few half opportunities, haven't really tested Manos tonight. Of course, they did have that early penalty, which is such a massive sliding doors moment when you consider how this game's gone, as Harry Ashcroft and George Lambert-Aridis been introduced with 20 minutes on the clock remaining plus stoppage time.
I think the Dandenong City bench just beat the fourth official to that double change. The pair of them have run onto the pitch, and our fourth official is none the wiser. But as you mentioned, Demir, a double change for the hosts right on the back of conceding. George Lambert-Aridis and Harry Ashcroft. Like for like changes for the two midfielders, Danny Kim and Matthew Jofku coming off. Harry Ashcroft has featured a little bit in midfield in recent weeks. Of course, he ultimately was sent off against Altona, but within the game was moved up into midfield, as similarly to this one, they chased the goal, having been 1-0 down. Now served his suspension last week and back on the pitch and back in midfield now. See what those two experienced bodies in the middle of the park can do for Nick Tolios. Lino's long throw is repelled. That was kept in by Jaradovic, and Labib is away. Streaming down the right-hand side, Inaba in retreat. Labib let fly and fired it over the crossbar.
There is another update scoreline from around the ground, and it's a surprise one because Bentley Greens, who are probably outside of Green Gully in the worst form heading into tonight's games, they've taken a surprise 1-0 lead on the stroke of half-time against Heidelberg United. In a game which is, of course, sees two managers competing against their old club in George Katsakis and John Anastasiadis.
Dandenong City chasing this equaliser. Atharinos held it up. Guy stepped inside and tried to dig out the cross. Be an interesting result on the stroke of half-time, certainly if that one continues at Kingston Heath. A little homestand for Bentley, and all season long they've been so good defensively on home soil, but certainly the last 2 weeks, 11 goals conceded in a pair of games at home. That will do George Katsakis the world of good, taking the lead against the reigning champions. The reigning runners up, looking to chase this one now. Bauer. Nicely inboard to Chesnick. Look to return it to his number 23, and he's got there, Will Bauer. Sets it for Atharinos to cross. It's towards Guy. Brody Boyce was up well to head away, only as far as Lino. Inaba to Latham and back out to Jackson Lino. Will lift it towards the box again. Guy was offside. Gave Jordan Hall an easy clearance, and Guest can keep it with the goal scorer Sinclair.
Just a couple of other quick updates from around the grounds in VPL 1. Melbourne Knights lead Eltham Redbacks 2-0 at Tom Said Stadium as that game approaches half-time, and Northcote City 0, Bulleen Lions 0 as that game also approaches the end of the first half.
A pair of massive games in the context of promotion there in the second tier.
Top 4 teams all playing against one another.
Sinclair buoyed by that goal. Will he shoot again? He will, and that one was nowhere near the same result as just a couple of minutes ago. Jaradovic has nearly taken the assistant referee's head off, willing to knock that one well out of play.
Still no signs of a change for the Oakleigh Cannons. We did mention Joe Knowles. A few other options that they do have on the bench is Mark Pefferiotis, the former Mel Victory and Caroline Springs George Cross attacker. James Georgiou, who had a terrific season last year for Melbourne City that culminated in promotion from VPL 1. Another option, as is Brandon Giacarini, former GV Suns winger.
Jordan Hall couldn't go back to his goalkeeper with Xander Guy lurking. So Boyce went long. Ashcroft can pick that one up. McGilp dived in but didn't win it. Ashcroft got it across the bower in the end. And Ford stood him up really well. Yeah, talking of the Oakleigh bench, there's also a first senior selection and potential debut for young 18-year-old Lucas Govranos. No Jacob Tratt in the matchday squad tonight. See if that means an injury for the Cannons or pure selection. So Oakleigh have another man down here.
Looks like Dodatovic, who the Oakleigh bench did ask a minute or so ago if he was all right, and he gave him the thumbs up. Wouldn't surprise me if he's the man who makes way for Joe Knowles.
Looks like that is going to be the change. I think the Oakleigh bench were encouraging Adam Djuratovic to hit the deck so they could get him the attention he needs and get the change made.
And Nick, it's good night Irene in the A-League, because Auckland have scored a third to lead Adelaide 3-0 in the 86th minute and 4-1 on aggregate.
Well, packed out Cooper Stadium will unfortunately be going home disappointed. Fantastic result for Auckland FC. So 15 minutes to play here. The physio finally made it on the pitch for Oakleigh. It looks like both sides about to be preparing some changes. If you've just joined us, Kingsley Sinclair has Oakleigh in the lead. The long-range strike that evaded the touch of Pierce Clark on its way into the bottom corner. Second goal of the season for Kingsley Sinclair just after the hour mark. Continuing their run of scoring in every game. And looking to make it 6 wins in a row in the league and 9 in a row in all competitions. The longer this stoppage goes on, you feel the more it'll suit the visitors. And Dandenong City now down to about 12 minutes to try and chase away back into this game. So after all that, the Dandenong City change is the one that'll come first. Xander Guy is trudging off the pitch on the far side, and we will get to see a cameo from this exciting youngster, Taylor Unal, 22 years of age. Former Newcastle Jets and Melbourne City youth player, as you mentioned, Demir, and he'll be coming on and looking to buzz about and make an impact. Latham comes away with that one. It's a nice turn by Will Bauer. Jordan Hall taps him on the ankles, and I reckon he's probably fortunate to get away with without a yellow card, the Oakleigh centre-back.
I think that's the point that Nick Tolios is making on the Dandenong City bench. Cynically brought him down, and usually you see those punished with a yellow card.
Headed away by Boyce. Only as far as Atharinos. And Dandenong City will have a corner. Atharinos sent a dangerous one in from this in-swinging position in the first half. So we'll see if it can be... He can repeat that threat and this time produce an equaliser.
Stay closer.
High looping ball towards Webster. It's headed away by Oakleigh. Lino back into the traffic. Shouts for handball from the Dandenong City bench. Atharinos puts it back in. Lino gets the flick header. It's off the crossbar. Webster in front of goal. Can only pick out the recovering Thomas Manos. Lino got the first contact on it, just flicked the header, looping towards the top right corner, and it was a combination of goalkeeper and crossbar that kept it out. And as it fell to Jack Webster, Demir waiting for the net to ripple, but it was a difficult height, difficult angle for the centre-back to deal with the finish. So close to an equaliser for the hosts.
Yeah, it's hard to tell on the replay whether Jordan Hall or another Oakleigh player handballed it there as Dandenong City protested initially, but their attention quickly turned to that second chance opportunity. Firstly, Lino did really well to get his head onto it, and Manos was backtracking. He was pretty relieved to see the ball hit the crossbar, but then it fell to Webster and he got it on target, but by that stage Manos had comfortably claimed it as he fought his way to get back into goal-saving position there and preserve his clean sheet. Agonising
For Hajduk. And you add that to the penalty opportunity inside the first 10 minutes.
Here's the Oakleigh change. Joe Knowles is going to get another late introduction. The 82nd minute here once the ball goes out.
Sinclair again going on a run down the left. The push and run trying to get past Ashcroft. Smartly concedes the throw-in rather than the goal kick. And here is that change. No goal to continue his form for Adam Jaradovic.
Yeah, look, I think he's worked hard tonight. He probably hasn't had the opportunities that he has had in previous weeks. He did have that header earlier on in this half, which he probably should have done better with, but another good shift for Jaradovic, particularly if Oakleigh claim all 3 points. And I guess if you're Dandy City, no respite with Knowles coming on. We saw what he could do in limited minutes last week. So if he does get the opportunity, don't be surprised if he finds the back of the net.
Straight into it, leaping for that aerial challenge, but Ashcroft won it. Knowles will now have the chance to bring it down. Ashcroft across again to challenge. It's a really good piece of classic number 9 play just a minute ago from Taylor Nunal, winning the header under a lot of pressure. Definitely an outlet that Dandenong City will look to exploit, as we have, you would think, around about 10 minutes remaining, just over 10 minutes remaining when you factor in injury time as well. Have been a few stoppages in this second half, so we'll see how many extra minutes we do get. Webster elected to keep that one in rather than let it go for the goal kick. It's long again. Boyce's header rebounded back off Bauer, and unfortunately the ball was just in between Atharinos and Unal. Had it fallen to either one of them, could have been a big chance for Hajduk to go and score. Atharinos is on it now.
Gotta look forward.
Latham picking up a deeper position, spreads it to Ashcroft. Wonder if Dandenong City are throwing everything at it and going back into something of a back 3 shape, or if Harry Ashcroft just in front of us is come over to right back and release Valley Chesnick into his more common higher position.
Yeah, and I do wonder, given until recently Valley Chesnick has primarily been deployed as an attacking option. Before, I think it was around this time last season, he deputised at right back and has never looked back since. So competent has he looked in that role, but I think you just have to throw numbers forward now if you're Nick Tolios. The goal drought continues, and I don't think they've been poor tonight, not by any measure, Dandenong City, but it's when it's not going your way. It's not going your way, as you saw only minutes ago with that double chance opportunity that they had with Lino first hitting the crossbar and Webster on the rebound, managing to hit it into Thomas Manos.
Yeah, they'll certainly be ruining missed opportunities if they can't nick a goal and a point, or potentially even more from what remains here. Just under 5 minutes of normal time now. Oakleigh holding a slender 1-0 lead. Dandenong City will throw everything at it right up until the final whistle in search of an equaliser. Lambatarides got up. Clearance is high and Webster saw it all the way. Straight to McGilp though. Labib will surely be offside, and this time the flag is up much earlier.
Stay wide, Val. Stay wide.
Piers Clark gets play underway straight away. Inaba. Long again. Hall made it his. Guest took it from Atherinos. Nice feet from Joseph Ford. It was an appeal for offside, nothing given, and the bib just kept on going. Fired it wide of the far post in the end. And Oakleigh will continue to have that threat on the counter with the pace of Labib and Sinclair out wide, and now the quality of Joe Knowles partnering Joe Guest in the middle of the park as well.
Yeah, and you'd imagine as Dandenong City throw more numbers forward and get more desperate, that Oakleigh might have another one or two more of those types of opportunities on the break. That's why it's important for Dandenong City to make the most of the next few minutes and do their very best to get an equaliser, which on the balance of opportunities you'd probably say has been deserved. Certainly they've had the clearer opportunities tonight, given how close they've come to scoring.
Numbers around that loose ball. Lambatarides brought it down. No handball was the decision. And there's going to be a yellow card for some remonstration, I think, to Cam McGill.
Let's get in. Let's get numbers.
I think it's Jordan Hall.
Jamie. Edges. Belly.
Captain Joe Guest steps in to diffuse things.
No, you're right, Nick. It is Cam McGill.
Oakleigh felt there was a handball from George Lambatarides. To be fair, it looked like the ball did strike his hand. Referee taking a view that it was off his foot first and unintentional. Another long throw. It's back out to Bauer. First time back in the box. And a corner for Dandy City. Into the 89th minute of the 90. Atherinos is threatened with some in-swingers. He'll go out-swinger this time. Latham wanted it at the top of the box, screaming for it, Jamie Latham. Instead, Atherinos goes in, the header's on goal! So close from Valley Chesnick, and a bit of a scramble at the top of the 6-yard box. Oakleigh just about managed to squirm it clear. It's back in the box now! And it's in the back of the net! Well, if he spurned the chance earlier, he's made absolutely no mistake with his head. Jack Webster, back from suspension, back in the starting 11 and back among the goals. A massive captain's goal for Dandenong City. And they do have that equaliser that they've so deserved tonight.
Just as the game closes in on the 90, Captain Jack Webster gets a well-deserved goal, not just on an individual level, but from a team standpoint. Dandenong City have deserved it, and have to say it was an excellent ball in from Valley Chesnick. Is that correct?
Atherinos, I believe it was.
A superb ball into the area. If it wasn't Webster, there were a couple of other Dandenong City players in close proximity that were also desperately looking to get their head on it. A superb ball. We're going to see a few minutes of 6 minutes of stoppage time.
Jordan Hall, I think, went into the book as well. It was actually George Lambatarides that had the initial header from that corner. I said it was Valley Chesnick at the time, but so nearly off the bench from Lambatarides, and then Atherinos, who took that corner, back in position with the delivery of the night.
Yeah, pinpoint perfect cross. For a player who hasn't scored this season, he does the next best thing there and delivers an assist as good of a goal.
And with 6 minutes to go, I dare say Dandenong City aren't quite done. Taylor Nunal looked to shift that one onto Latham. The home side would love 3. They'd be delighted with 1, given the way the game's gone on.
No activity on the Oakleigh bench. You can assume that they'll probably stick with the 11 that they've got on the field, despite having another few changes up their sleeves to make.
Joe Guest went early with the free kick and got it all wrong. Atherinos doing his defensive duties, reading that perfectly. Long ball from Manos, and there's no Oakleigh shirt anywhere near the drop of the ball. Unal will compete with Ford. The bib clears on the swivel, and Joseph Ford was offside. It was kept in off the head of Jackson Leno, and it looked like Joe Knowles could have stolen a march on the Dandy City defence, but the home side will get back on the ball. Those junior fans to our right are up and about, their air horns going, trying to charge their idols onto what would be an incredible, dramatic late win if they can pinch another goal. They've got to stay wary at the back, though. Campbell Strong had it and lost it. Lambatarides. Nice touch inside from Atherinos. Wins the foul from Kingsley Sinclair.
If you're Dandenong City, would you be happy with a point? Or are you throwing all numbers forward to get potentially an extra 2 points on board?
I think probably somewhere in between. If you can take your opportunities, potentially, such as this from a set piece, although Jack Webster hasn't gone forward. Goes short to Latham. Thought about the shot first time. Tim Atherinos went for it on the second attempt and bent it just high and wide. But yeah, to finish answering your question, Demir, I think somewhere in between. You obviously don't want to go too gung-ho and leave gaps exposed at the back. Of course, a point against the league leaders and a team that comes into this one having not lost the game of football for 2 months. You would have to take that as a positive result. But given the chances that they've had, would feel like there was a potential chance for the 3 rather than the 1. We'll have about a couple of minutes left. And I think after the initial hype and adrenaline rush from that equaliser, I think the real answer to your question, Demir, is Dandenong City seem happy to manage this, slow it down, and see this point through. Pierce Clark's goal kick is long. Boyce heads it unopposed. And Oakleigh bring it down. Knowles trying to beat Chesnick. Up to the task really well was Valley Chesnick initially, but Joe Knowles pushed him off the ball. Harry Ascroft got back expertly. Shoulder-to-shoulder challenge goes unpunished. Unal with it. Excellent touch around Jordan Hall. Hall dived in. And it's a yellow card for Jordan Hall. We thought he might have been booked after the equaliser.
Must have been another player.
Jordan Hall goes into the book. And with a minute to go, Jack Webster will go up now for this free kick. This could be Dandenong City's last chance. Again, it goes short. It's a 1-2, and Latham has it back. Digs it out towards Webster. Gets first contact. Unal on the spin. Webster again. Out to the top of the box with Ascroft. Lino will swing his foot through it. Falls to Bauer. Will Bauer! The flag's up. Will Bauer thought he'd won it for Dandenong City. But the flag was up on the near side, and now they have to get back the hosts. Lambertarides heads it down to Webster. Webster long, back to Will Bauer. One-on-one, cuts inside on his left. Goes to ground. Connor Hampson shoved him off it. And there is the final whistle. Well, so nearly, what a moment there for Will Bauer. Could have been the most dramatic of finishes. The offside flag halting any celebrations here at Frank Holohan. And after what you'd have to say was quite a disappointing certainly first half, first 60 minutes all told, ends in an absolute frenzy here at Frank Holohan, and both sides will have to settle for a point.
Yeah, Nick, went back and watched the Bauer disallowed goal. Really hard to tell whether it was offside or not. The one Oakleigh player that might potentially be keeping him onside is Brodie Boyce, but you don't get a clear view of it, and ultimately the assistant referee is in the best position. For Dandenong City, as happy as they'd be as we see a few words exchanged between Cam McGilp and Ramsey Nasser, one of the Dandenong City staff members. Nick Tolios has had to come in between them to separate them. But it's probably a reflection of how fiercely fought this game was, and ultimately Dandenong City, everything that they had going against them, you think back to the fact that, it is a 3-game losing streak. They hadn't scored in 3.5 games. They lost Pierce Waring earlier. They're coming into the game without Corey Sewell, Brad Plant, Archie McPhee, as well as Stacey Georgakopoulos, and the return of Jack Webster proved to be so crucial for them tonight. Not only did he get the equaliser, but he was so composed in the heart of their defence. And for Oakleigh, perhaps a bit disappointed that they weren't able to hold on after taking the lead from Kingsley Sinclair. They'd definitely be hoping that Heidelberg drop points tonight so they can preserve their lead at the top and ensure that the Burgers don't creep any closer. But as we hit the halfway mark of the season, Oakleigh will be looking to continue the pace that they've set throughout the first 13 rounds. And if you're Dandenong City, they'll be definitely looking to make up for some lost points inside the first half of the season.
Well, what a finish we had here at Frank Holohan Soccer Complex. Jamie Latham missed an early penalty. Kingsley Sinclair put Oakleigh in front. Jackson Lino hit the crossbar. Jack Webster had a massive chance on the rebound after that one, and then went one better. A massive captain's goal to equalise late on. And they very well could have stolen it at the end, the hosts. Webster again involved. Taylor Unal, the youngster who was impressive off the bench. Will Bauer had one in the bottom left corner, denied by the offside flag. And in the end, after a frantic ending, it ends a goal apiece here at Frank Holohan. From me, Nick Hughes, Demir Kulash, it's been a delight to bring this one to you on the NPL Victoria YouTube channel. Enjoy the rest of the weekend's action and the festivities of Female Football Week. We hope to catch you around the grounds or on a stream again across this weekend and for the second half of the season. But signing off here at Frank Holohan, it ends Dandenong City 1, Oakleigh Cannons 1.